Okay. And like that, we're back with Dubster Dive once again.
We are?
Yes! With another recommendation. This time from Yamisaki00. And, they recommended Samurai Champloo. What are we gonna do? There's no witty remarks to make this time. The show's actually really good, and everyone who's seen it basically knows that.
I mean, they probably figured that with the lack of Nome.
Yeah. So, if y'all haven't seen Samurai Champloo, go watch Samurai Champloo. Yeah, you should. I mean, it's easy enough to watch at this point. It's old
We'll
enough.
just pause it here and come back. We'll wait.
But if you need more proof, Samurai Champloo was created by Shinichiro Watanabe. You know, the guy behind Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy, the legend, where everything he touches turns into a classic. At least everything he's in charge of. We don't talk about some of his other things. Who wants to watch live-action Bebop? Do you think that would have gone better if he was more involved?
No.
Anyway, it was animated by Studio Manglobe, their debut thing. You know, guys behind Carnival, Dead Man Wonderland, and Gangsta. Which means we've covered them years ago at this point. And I already went over the fact they went bankrupt in 2015.
They went bankrupt mid-episode.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers that episode of Gangsta.
Dude, that ending was pretty bad. Maybe we'll cover it someday and go more into it. But yeah. Watanabe immediately set out to work on Champloo back in 1999, with pre-production beginning in '02. He wanted to go with hip-hop and samurai merging as the whole thing, because he says they both have a whole thing with self-identification going for them. You know, and self-discovery and stuff. But I guess if you put it that way, they kind of do. Also, he wanted to do the exact opposite of what Bebop was, because he was burnt out on having to work on Bebop for so damn long. Hence why Bebop is set in space and uses a more jazz aesthetic influence, whereas this is, well, hip-hop and samurai. Literally the complete opposite. But yeah. Anyway, that would air in May of 2004. And run all the way until '05 with 26 eps. And Dai hated it. He just hated it, right, Dai?
Yeah. It was terrible.
I know. Yeah, some of the other people who worked on it, though, was character designer Kazuta Nakazawa. Why did I bring him up? Because he did Fen a Pirate Princess, and Dai loves when I reference that show. I mean, hey, he also did... What up?
You love plagiarism.
Dude, that's shot. Never mind. Different rant. But yeah, I mean, he also did some of the character designs for the Tenchi franchise, so there's that. Also, we have writer Yukihiko Tsutsumi, who worked on Office Crescendo and the Siren game series. That explains the zombie fungus episode, doesn't it? What?
Yeah.
Anyway, as far as the OST goes, we have actual J-pop artists working on it, such as group members from the band Force of Nature, Fat John, Shaka Zombie, I probably butchered that, and a handful of others. Again, they went all out with this OST. I don't think I need to tell you all the OST is also really damn good. But let's get to what Samurai Champloo is all about. So, we follow a girl named Fu who's trying to search for the samurai who smells of sunflowers. And she ends up saving two dudes who are about to be executed, Mugen and Jin. Mugen being a former criminal who's basically kind of a dick.
Kind of.
Yeah, he's very brash, rude, arrogant. And Jin being the exact opposite, the traditional samurai. You know, calm, collected, and everything like that. But the two of them are extremely strong, so she needs them for hired muscle on her journey. So she ends up saving them from their execution in exchange for them helping her find the samurai. Thus, after that, the show is basically episodic, with the Sunflower Samurai search kind of fading into the background. You've all seen this type of stuff before. Even the character dynamics, the calm one, the arrogant prick one, and the pseudo-tsundere who has to keep them in line. And yet it's used so many times because it works, Dai!
It works when your writing is an ass.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, apparently after the first 4 episodes when they were writing on this, because they admitted that they were kind of going with this as they went along a little bit. They wanted to make it a little more upbeat after Ep 4 because they thought the tone was a little too bleak for what they were doing, which is why we got a bunch of comedic episodes mixed in, like the baseball episode, aka the best fucking episode, Fight Me. Or the episode where Mugen gets high at a Japanese checkpoint and has a weird drug orgy. Did we mention...
they were defending that checkpoint so hard because they were secretly growing weed.
Did we mention that Watanabe would go on to do Space Dandy? But yeah, the show's great.
Which also has a zombie episode.
Yeah, the thing I always say here could really do it justice. The show's really good, so go watch it. Trust us. I remember the first time I saw this back in 2010. I actually marathoned all 26 eps in a single day. But let's get to the animation first, and we'll get into the whole history of the dub and everything. Dai, how was it?
How are we in 2023 and there's stuff that can't even equal this?
Yeah, I mean, this obviously has a bunch of comedic stuff, but it also has badass samurai fights too all throughout. That's the main thing. The show's just fun. And who doesn't like fun? My personal favorite fight, though, being Mugen versus the Street Killer Shoryu. Even has my favorite theme of the show, too, called The Last Samurai. The Tom Cruise film? I mean, it shares the same name. Anyway. But yeah. That fight was cool. Also, Gene versus the Hand of God is another really good fight I like, too. Yeah, that's not the literal Hand of God. I wouldn't be surprised, though, with how weird this show gets at times. It's a samurai who goes by that name. Because of how powerful he is. You got any highlights, Dive? Cool fights you liked? What?
Is there a fight to not like?
Yeah, that's true. Very true. So, you're saying the animation's good. How could you? Does it remind you of another anime following samurai in a similar time period that you always like to shit on for its animation?
Yes. Yes, it does. It reminds me of the exact opposite of that.
Oh. That's right. He's talking about Samurai Deeper Kill. I don't know. Neither of us have seen that. He's talking about Orient, obviously.
What do you mean you haven't?
I haven't seen Samurai Deeper Kill. Have you?
I thought you Dubster that, or is that something
No.
else?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of Samurai Gun. They both came out around the same time.
What?
Samurai Gun's the one I haven't seen.
What the fuck?
Hey, if I didn't fuck up once, it wouldn't be me, alright? Anyway, we already gone over the OST. It's really fucking good. It's got a bunch of diverse shit. Especially if you're into hip-hop, you will fucking love this OST. I've seen a lot of people say it sounds like stuff you'd hear in the Boondocks. It does. I already mentioned one of my favorite songs. Another one I really like is called Loading Zone, which is the title card theme. I don't know, I really like that song.
Yeah, and now someone's really confused, especially someone who randomly just came off watching that Dubster tape.
I was thinking of, I don't know why I was thinking Samurai Gun, but then I said Samurai Deeper Kill because I heard Samurai Gun is a fucking terrible samurai anime from around this time period. Which means Nomi will probably be on that one. Anyway, yeah. So point is, the animation soundtrack fucking phenomenal. Go, check it out. As far as the dub itself goes, the only reason we're here, the dub was licensed by Geneon and would air on Adult Swim in May of 2005. And from what I remember, they actually edited out some of the swearing by using the, DJ record scratching thing to cut out the swearing, which the show uses for its segue sound effects anyways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
So
it does.
you mean they stylized it?
Yeah. From what I recall, at least. Yeah, it's been many fucking years.
What, sometimes swearing could be more funny if they censor it in the correct way.
Yeah. As far as the studio itself that handled it, it was Bang Zoom. The people behind Undead Unluck. I just felt like mentioning that because that dub just premiered and that show's fun. Y'all should watch it too, I guess. ADR director would be Eric P. Sherman, who did the Bubble movie. The Bubble will die. The Bubble.
The bubble.
Gungrave, and the OG Kenshin anime. So, his dubs are always pretty good. With script being by Christy Reed, who did the P4 anime, and Tom Weiner and Kirk Thornton. Kirk was a scriptwriter. Oh my god. The asshole. But it's time to get to our cast. So first, we have Fu, who we already mentioned is basically Tsundere. Voiced by Kari Walgren, who is Kitana and Melina from MK11 and MK1. All they did was erase one die from the title.
Yeah, it's funny. Clap.
Celti from Durarara. Saber from the Fate franchise. Fate Zero and Unlimited Blade Works. I don't know, it keeps swapping between her and Michelle Ruff all the time. I still don't understand why on that one.
Because the one time Michelle Ruff voiced her in the movie that everyone hated.
And Taruka from FLCL. But yeah, Kari Walgren, all I could really find looking through this is that she loved this role, which I don't blame her. I mean, who wouldn't love voicing in this? The show's just a shit ton of fun. And she does great work. You're going to hear us say that a lot. This dub is actually pretty fucking great. So, yeah. There's even moments where Fu eats a lot, because she's also a foodie. She loves food. And they do a comedic thing where she gets really fat. So Kari has to, make her voice deep like this.
Have you seen a fat girl?
Yeah, I love that episode. There's an episode where a bunch of criminals are trying to look for her. And like, have you seen a fat girl around here? But she's already back to being skinny, because again, the comedic gag ended. Fucking great. After her, we have Jean, who's, again, the calm, collected samurai, who's all about, honor and everything like that. Voiced by Kirk Thornton, who's Shadow from the latest Sonic stuff. Brandon Heat from Gungrave.
Which there's a lot of similarities, honestly.
Yeah, and Jubei from BlazBlue. And, yeah, Gene would say in an interview that this is one of the greatest anime he's ever had the pleasure of working on, but was also one of the...
Gene would say.
Yes, Kirk would say. Same thing. Yeah, he's like, this is one of the greatest anime I've ever had the pleasure of working on. It was also one of the simplest characters to ever voice, too, since Gene talks very quietly and barely talks at all, too.
To be fair, he does talk more than Brandon Heat.
He does, and this might be one of my favorite roles by Kirk, funnily enough, because of the way he talks for Gene. Because he's like, yeah, he talks quietly. It's like, yeah, but he shows the right amount of emotion for all of his lines. Like, in, the episode where they're held at the checkpoint while Mugen has to go off and find a criminal to set them free or whatever in exchange. And Fuchs just like, do you think he'll come back? And he just goes, hmm. The way he keeps replying like that, there's a subtlest of emotion to it. It's not just generic or whatever you want to call it. Also, Gene is fucking awesome. He's cool as hell. Who wouldn't love him? After him, though, we have probably everyone's favorite character, Mugen. Mugen is a dumbass and arrogant and brash, and by dumbass I mean he can't read. Which makes sense with his upbringing and backstory and everything.
I mean, he does learn how to later.
Yeah. We'll get to that with some of the scripting, because the script is pretty great too. Well, Mugen is voiced by Daniel Andrews. Who the fuck is that? Damn it, Steve Bloom, why'd you go under an alias?
Jenny on.
Yeah, actually, I wrote down some of my favorite aliases because a bunch of people went under them. The other two didn't, or I would have mentioned them. So, Steve Bloom, Spike from Cowboy Bebop, which is relevant for what he had to say about this role, Orochimaru from Naruto, and Roger Smith from The Big O, which I promise we are covering next year. I want to see that show, damn it. What? Do you remember it, Di?
I mean, if you put them side by side with Spike from Bebop and just use their heads, you'd be like, isn't that almost the same character?
Well, apparently, from what he was saying, this was almost requested by the Japanese staff because it was obviously a lot of the same people who worked on Bebop, which he said was the part that made him the most nervous and challenging to work with, because he wanted to. He didn't want people to be pissed off at him, you know, the fans basically being like, we didn't want just another Spike! So he had to do a completely different approach, since Spike is, well, the opposite of Mugen.
Despite looking vaguely similar.
Yeah. Also, he said that they did have a Japanese client in the room analyzing every single line, and there was even a Japanese woman who said to him, his exact words, well, that take was good, but do harder, but more soft. And he's like, apparently the whole recording of the series went that way. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? But yeah, Mugen is fucking awesome. He's basically Kenpachi. That's the best way I could describe him, easily enough. He loves fighting strong opponents as it doesn't fight sexual. He also loves hot women.
Really?
I know, you couldn't tell. Again, we'll get to it when we get to some of the episodes and the scripts and stuff, but yeah. This is, again, one of Steve Blum's best roles in a lot of people's opinion, for good reason. In fact, all three of our mains could easily be MVP here. Now for a couple of the recurring characters, which there's not very many with it being all episodic and all. We've got Manzu Sakami, the Saw, who's a detective that follows him around, a cop. He's only in like 3 episodes.
One of them being the recap episode.
Yeah, which we'll get to that in a sec too. But yeah, and you said for some reason the club he uses looks like a fucking dildo. Because even he narrates it saying, like, his people think my weapon looks ridiculous. He's a comedic relief character, obviously. And he's voiced by Michael McConaughey, Charles V. Britannia from Code Geass, Captain Gordon from the Disgaea franchise, and Bargon from Bleach. Could be a lot of Bleach overlap, too. What? You were gonna think Seth from Street Fighter die?
Yeah, everyone's favorite wife.
Thank you so much. But yeah, he does good here too. Again, it's a comedic relief character who has to investigate certain things. And his catchphrase is, oh, for Pete's sake! Anytime something goes wrong, which it always does, or anytime something stupid happens. Now, as far as the rest of the named characters that we could go over, they're the closest thing we have to, I guess, main antags. They show up in like the last 4 or 5 episodes, though. So, first, I already mentioned him earlier, Cardia, the Hand of God Samurai. That is such a metal fucking name. Voiced by Steve Kramer. You know, Shunsui from Bleach, or Booze Man from To Your Eternity. How does Season 3 not have an air date yet?
The fact that he's actually still called Boost.
And yeah, he's, again, very calm, collected. Basically, I guess you could say an evil version of Gene, which makes sense since, you find out he's very connected to Gene's past. So, find this out early on. Gene, his whole thing is he ended up killing his master of the dojo or whatever, and now he's a wandering samurai ever since that incident. Yeah, Steve does good work. No complaints. Much like our next person, the blind assassin, Sarah, voiced by Megan Hollingshead. Ron Giku from Bleach, getting a lot of Bleach overlap. And Nurse Joy Officer Jenny from Pokemon.
Yeah, he just can't help himself.
I can't, man! Yeah, she's the one a calm person here. She also likes playing the shamisen when she's not.
Calm person.
She's very calm, man, because she has to do her job. She's an assassin. She's also someone Mugen, I'm pretty sure, wants to fuck with how he kept trying to one-attack that. But yeah. Oh, speaking of which, her alias was, by the way, Karen Thompson.
That did sound like a robot.
Yeah, hey, her name's Karen Thompson, man. Not Megan Hollingshead. I did it wrong. And the last two that actually have names that I could go over are Umanosuke, voiced by Doug Airholes, who is Ichibaru and Urahara from Bleach, and Hazuma from BlazBlue. Look, I had to bring up Ichimaru and Hazuma for an obvious reason. It's the same fucking character.
Hey, don't forget the fact that he voices a turtle.
Polnareff from JoJo. There you go. But yeah, Umanosuke, him and his brothers were wronged in the past when Mugen used to be a criminal. Mugen and his crew robbed a ship that Umanosuke was a part of, and yeah, when they burnt the ship, a lot of them ended up being disfigured. Umanosuke and his family, I mean. So they want revenge. Makes sense, I guess.
I mean, all he lost was a fucking eye.
His brothers, man, got fucked up beyond belief. But yeah, it's basically it's dug in my personal favorite roles by him. Where it's when that must have hurt. Where he sounds like such a condescending asshole with all of his lines. And he uses a sickle and a chain.
Yeah.
So you know he's cool. Actually, I didn't even bring that up. What does Sarah use? You know, the blind chick as a weapon. What?
Essentially a spear.
Okay. Yeah, Mugen and Jean obviously
you
use swords.
You especially want reach when you can't see.
Yeah. But yeah, Doug is fucking great. Now, his brother, Denkibo, which, by the way, I don't even think they ever said the names of the characters in the show. I had to pull them up myself afterwards, so... But yeah, he's voiced by Derek Stephen Prince, who's Shino from Naruto and Ken from Digimon. You all thought I was going to say someone else, didn't you?
Yes.
Denkibo is the one who got horribly fucking misfigured. Isn't he, like, all deformed and shit now?
Yeah.
Ed even talks with a lisp, meaning anime DSP is trying to imitate actual DSP. He does the whole snorting thing. I don't know why I said lisp, but yeah, he does the whole nose snorting thing. That's what DSP does. But yeah, he is fucking psychotic. Just going, I want to kill. That's his whole thing towards Mugen.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, and then the last brother doesn't talk at all. He's wheelchair bound, and he has a gun. and a wheelchair bomb, because we had to bring it back to that. I thought Dracula Sovereign of the Damned would be the only time. Why is this becoming a thing? But that's it for our major characters that are worth naming off. As far as a couple of one-offs that are worth mentioning, well, we've got Georgie, the Dutchman, who's pretending to be Japanese with a really silly as fuck accent. But Ty, doesn't he have red hair? No, you're mistaken. I'm Japanese. Well, he's voiced by Paul St. Peter, who is Man Sex from Kingdom Hearts and narrator from Soul Calibur 6. Then I guess the Fox from Naruto. But yeah, he does a really silly as fuck accent. Because the whole character is just, he wants to sightsee in Japan, but, you know, they're not nice with foreigners at the moment, at this point in history. So he's pretending to be Japanese, even though that accent is really fucking obvious. Damn it. Also, what do you think of the beauty contest part with him, by the way? You know where he fought? Yeah, wasn't it a beauty showcase or some shit?
A play?
Yeah. And he's like, oh, she beautiful. What do you mean? That's a guy. And he goes, you mean he boy? This preferred.
What?
And then at the end of the episode, he when he's being taken away, he's saying to Mugen and them, he's like, someday your country will not be so tight-ass with foreigners. And Mugen just responds with, no one can relax their ass with you around, buddy. Fucking great, dude. Speaking of funny accents, we have another one, a villain of the episode named Xavier the Third. Was a really silly accent. I don't even know what accent he's supposed to be. Like, I think Italian? Well, he's voiced by Lex Lang, Geto from Jujutsu Kaisen, and Sagura from OG Kenshin. Or, go ahead, Dai. I know you want to make the Haunting Ground joke.
My dolly?
My dolly. Yeah, Xavier's kind of an asshole. He basically uses religion to con people out of money. Commits religion fraud like a dick. As far as other people, there's a lot of recycled people on the cast list we could go over. Like, Dave Mallow. How many people was he, Di?
Like 10?
Yeah, or Jackson Daniels. I mean, Dan Warren.
I mean, is that really an alias if your name is in your alias?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, Dan Warren was a shit ton of people. Let's see. Sam Riegel was a couple. Liam O'Brien was a few. Are there any others I'm missing? Oh, Dave Wittenberg.
Yeah.
Tony Oliver.
Some of the weird, those two in particular are some of the weirder characters.
Dude, Tony Oliver's character though, the one that he voices, you know, who has a guy following him around doing beatboxing for him. Every time the asshole talks, he's like, hit it! And then this guy behind him just starts beatboxing. It's his whole fucking gimmick. It's fucking great. Nagamitsu, that's the Tony character's name that does that. That's his whole thing. He has a beatbox guy behind him. Which I couldn't find who voiced the beatbox dude. I know his name's Ogura, but I couldn't find out who voiced him. Because I wanted to know, who did they get in there to do that? Speaking of Tony, there's a moment where he's recapping the show and he's singing it. And yes, it's obviously fully dubbed. It's, again, really fucking weird. And, of course, there is an entire, 2 minutes worth, give or take, of Dave Wittenberg and another dude rapping. Just straight up rapping. and it is glorious. What, you got nothing to add to that, Di?
No, I think you've said enough. It speaks for itself.
Yeah, Watanabe confirmed that this show was meant to have a Western audience immediately, which is probably why he went for hip-hop as well. I guarantee that was at least one of the reasons. Hey, he could say he liked hip-hop ever since he was in high school, but being as how in the early to mid-2000s, hip-hop culture was at its peak here, well, you know. And he did admit that his other work, Bebop, picked up massively in the West, so he figured that this would also pick up massively over here too. But yeah. As far as favorite episodes, any ones stand out to you, Di?
I mean, the one we just went over. Pretty hard to top that beatbox.
Yeah. I love the baseball one, though, man.
Yeah.
The fucking baseball one, though. Where,
The baseball one's pretty good.
Yeah, much like Dragon Ball Super. Who would have thought?
If you're gonna have a baseball episode, you need to be as stupid as possible.
Yeah. Where, you know the fucking line. Where the Saw is there, and he's like, I will go undercover, pretending to be an American. And then the Americans, of course some of the Americans have southern accents, because of course they do. And they just go, hey, who are you? And he just goes, howdy, I am American, Yankee Doodle. And the fucking American just pulls a gun and shoots at him. Oh, so I love how they made the Americans be the ones to say fuck and swear a bit too. It's like, yeah, that's sounds about right. And when they're losing the baseball game because Gene is using his sword like a baseball bat and everything, they're like, well, it's time to show these guys how we play baseball the American way. Suddenly they start playing dirty as fuck and they're just, knocking out the Japanese team's players.
Yeah, that does sound like the American way.
Nothing is more American. Another episode I absolutely love is when they go to a brothel, Mugen and Jean, and they somehow stumbled in their way to a counterfeit money laundering scheme, and Mugen ends up running.
They found the pouch because they fished a pouch of money out of a lake.
Yeah, and Mugen ends up running into an undercover prostitute voiced by Michelle Ruff, and her and him end up teaming up to take it down. But it's like she keeps having the problem. Hey, if you do this for me, I promise I will rock your world. I mean, at first she tries knocking him out, thinking he's just a normal client. Like, I have more important things to worry about. She even kicks him in the dick, and he just goes, man, you tough chicks really turned me on.
I don't think he can be very turned on right now.
Mugen is fucking awesome. I also love how the episode ends, too. Where at the very end, she does the whole, hey, look, a naked woman! And he turns around and she knocks him out and then leaves. And she tells her partner, she's like, oh, don't worry. I'll find him again when our journeys end. After all, that's the man I'm gonna marry someday. So I guess we know who Mugen ends up shipped with, huh? But yeah, the dub is fucking great. We could be here all day going over it. As far as the Western terminology, I mean, it works, especially for Mugen being the one to say it, like mofo. And him saying to Jean, I'll make you cry like a little bitch. And Jean just replies, little bitch? Do people really say that? Or in the recap episode where they do it by reading Fu's diary. And when Fu gives her thoughts on how she thinks Mugen is loud, annoying, obnoxious, and very rude, he goes, what? Say that again, you little bitch! And Jean just goes, you realize you're yelling at a diary, right?
He is.
Yeah. Again, it's show's fun. It's just a lot of fun. It's one of those that's obviously more about the journey than the destination, with how episodic it is. So,
But speaking of episodic, I think you forgot to credit someone from Bleach.
who?
Someone who wanted her an alias.
You're gonna have to help me out here.
You know, they're not Ichigo.
Oh yeah, yeah. Johnny on Bosch was in here in one episode, which he went under the alias Kevin Hatcher.
Well, that's how you do an alias.
I-
No one's gonna fucking think that.
I prefer Keith Silverstein's alias, David Keither.
No, that's just as bad as the fucking day anyways.
Yeah. Also going back here, there's sadly a lot of Vuz who aren't with us anymore. Bob Pappenbrook, Felice Sampler, Peter Spellis, who I think just died like 2 or 3 weeks ago, actually. It's like, holy shit, the Champloo casts are starting to fall off a bit, huh? Probably others I even missed. But yeah. So, in the end, what did we learn here, Dai?
We learned that it will always come back to rape horse.
Kirk Thornton did voice that, yes. You're 100% correct.
Exactly. Just like in Soul Calibur, where he voices Nightmare, who rides a horse. Coincidence? I think not.
So, Champloo. Is it my favorite samurai anime? I don't think so, but it is definitely one I do like a lot. I do really like this show, and I understand why a lot of people think it's a classic, because it fucking is. You all should watch it if you haven't.
Yeah, and they ended in a way where, where if they ever feel like it someday, they could just make a sequel over.
Yeah. I don't know how they'd go about that today. I think I like it where it is, honestly. Unless they manage to get all of the staff back together to work on it. Because who the fuck knows how that would turn out. We've seen how many shows come back with failed sequel seasons or whatever. Hi, FLCL.
That was very not failed. Come on, what is wrong with you?
So... But hey, in the end...
And I'm just saying they could, not that they should. They definitely shouldn't. Leave
Yeah.
it alone.
Yeah, it's good where it ended. They did wrap up, if anyone's wondering, they did wrap up the Sunflower Samurai plotline, if you're worried about that. No, they did wrap that shit up. The arc they set up since Ep 1 or whatever. As far as Watanabe's work, yeah, I'm in the camp that agrees that, because I know the unfair comparison is to his first work, which was Bebop. I do think Bebop is better than this, but that does not mean I sell this short at all either. This is still really fucking good. So I get confused by that.
But both of them involve space.
They do? Oh, you're... Oh my god. Dude, the fucking zombie episode was so weird.
Zombies affected by a meteorite.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, do you agree? Like, because I saw there was a subset of the fandom that think the more out there episodes will stand out to you more than the overly serious ones with this show. That's not the serious. Yeah,
the serious episodes don't really pick up till towards the second half.
Yeah, that's the thing with this one versus Bebop, which is why it's constantly compared to it. But again, I do think this one has great comedy. It's a lot of fun, and the samurai fights are fucking awesome. And it is definitely an anime that you all owe it to yourselves if you still somehow have not seen yet to check it out. Mark it off your bucket list and all that.
Yeah, they even drop the
what?
When it starts to get more serious, they drop the commercial break thing.
Yeah, where does the Champloo thing?
Yeah.
after during the commercial breaks.
Some people might think it's there for the whole show. No, it's only there for like the first half.
Well, I'll end this with the last quote from Mugen towards Gene. It's the episode where Gene needs money to go buy a woman to free her from a brothel, but Mugen and Fu don't know that. And Mugen just, when he leaves, Mugen goes, I'm happy for him. I was starting to get a little suspicious. You ever see him check out a woman? I mean, hey, he might be a queer. It's his delivery of it and everything. It's like, these guys are friends and they just love rousing each other. It's fucking great.
No, they're not friends. Until the end when they finally admit it and stop beating around the bush.
Didn't the fucking narrator, by the way, say at one point that Western culture made Japan less gay?
Essentially.
Yeah, because it said Edo was like Greece.
The dojo culture was very homoerotic.
Yeah, it said like where homosexuality was seen as more noble than hetero. It's like, okay.
And then they were until more prudish customs from Western culture showed up.
But I've been quoting that stupid fucking queer line for years with Nomi and other people. I thought he was singing about the Sunflower Samurai because I thought he was, for some reason, for years, because I haven't seen the show again, like, over a decade ago. And I thought he was like, what kind of guy smells of flowers? I mean, hey, he might be a but whatever. I'm starting to get a little suspicious of Nomi. Have you ever seen him check out a woman?
No.
Oh. Wait a minute. No, he likes that goat from Genshin or whatever the fuck. But alright. I think we're gonna leave it here. So, I hope you all enjoyed, and we've got one more recommendation left, and it's a big one, so might be out by the end of the year. We'll see.
Probably not.
I think it can. We'll try. That's all we could do at the end is try. Let us know what you all thought. MVP is the three maids, obviously. Was there ever any doubt? All three of them did fucking great. And until next time, guys.
Move list.
Remember, don't do drugs, or you might get high at a security checkpoint.
Or eat mushrooms you find in the ground.
Yeah, or eat mushrooms you find on the ground. They might start turning you into a zombie.
They might make you fall into a hole and be abducted by a zombie cult. Wait, what?
Created by a fungus that fell from a meteorite. Did we mention that episode? It's fucking weird.
The fungus is in the form of wasabi. Anyway.
Yeah, so on that note, we're going to leave you guys alone. So hope you all enjoyed. Thanks again so much for watching, and hope you all have yourselves a great day. So till next time, guys. Bye!